Okay, here's a quick little video. I'm going to make this slightly more sophisticated for our inventory database lookup um, sheet. So what we can do here is we set this thing up so you just like make a wild guess at what the part number is, and it's finding the nearest match. There actually is a superior way of doing that, and this wasn't actually even available when I first started doing these spreadsheet lessons. Um, but I discovered it recently, and I think it's super, super cool. So I'm going to show you this. So go to this cell right here, the lookup part number, and I want you to right click on it. And you'll notice they have all these drop down things that happen. We've looked at a few of them. Here's one I think you'll really like. It's called Dropdown. So I'm going to select that. And very much like conditional formatting, um, a dialog box pops up on the side here. Now, currently it says there's a, it's going to be applied to the cell right here. Um, it's going to be a drop down. And then it has these items in here. Now, it automatically chose the item that the number already had in there. That's not even a number in our part number list. So actually, I'm going to change that one. I'm going to change it to the first value, 10001. Okay. I'm going to add another item, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good. Add another item, 39000. Another item, and 55555. Yeah. So these are the numbers that I could have put in here that are exact matches to what we've got. And now if I say done, what happens here, let me close this for a minute, is, well, first off, uh, there's not actually one that matches that. So let me change this. Now what you have is you can click the down arrow, and it only offers you the values that are already there, which is kind of cool. So I choose that one, and now it looks up item number 39,000, and it's the knob. We have 4 of them for 238, or I drop this and go, oh well, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the other option there. Because I put them in order when I was creating the selections. So let's go over here like this. Let's go back to drop down. It should bring up the drop down that's already applied to it. Sure. If I had changed this to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this to 10001, notice it gave me an error when it realized we had duplicates there. Unless you, well, let's not worry about that right now. Let's click done. And close this now. Now you see when I click this down arrow, it does it in the sequence that it was over there when I typed them in. So that's pretty cool. It'll prevent us from ever finding one that isn't right. So technically we can take these guys here and delete them, and we don't need them anymore because the only part numbers that are going to come up as options are the ones here. One thing it doesn't do is you can't go in here and type in a number like this. It doesn't exist. It's just going to give you an error. It violates the data validation rules. Data validation is a whole thing, by the way. There's an entire field of study called data validation. But in this case, it's basically just not allowing you to enter value that isn't in the drop-down list. So that's why it tells you there's an error when you do that, and it ignores it. It goes back to what was previously typed in. Now, this is cool and all, but let's face it, at some point you're likely to go in and say, you know what, we're not going to carry these anymore. So I'm going to make a new number, 39001. Yeah. These are going to be, I don't know, hangers. And, we have 6 on hand. They cost us $1.99 each, and we charge $6.99 each. I'm just making up this number, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, now when I do my drop down, if you'll notice, 3,900 is still there. Because this does still look for the nearest thing without going over, then the next thing without going over is the thingamabob. So that's why this is giving a thingamabob. This is concerning, right? Because there actually that isn't actually the number of the thingamabob. So I probably was a little hasty to eliminate the nearest match column here. And that basically was this equation. I can drag it back this way now, and it still functions because all I deleted before was that. So this is kind of interesting. It'll let you know if there's a nearest match there for that. So if we go, say, to what? Oh, well, the problem here is I'll never be able to look up 3,901. So this is just, it's unsatisfactory. We'll still leave this guy in here, but there's a better way to do the drop down on this. So let me show you this. We're going to, again, do our drop down that was applied. And instead of doing drop down like this, we're going to choose drop down from a range. This is actually better than what we already did where we typed in all the values. Drop down from a range, I'm just going to tell it where to find all the options, and it's automatically going to pick out only these and type them in for me. So this is a step better. This is going to be from, let's see, that is B10 to well, let's go out B17. Let's go further down from here. So this is from B10, and we're going to go down into the B column. Of course, I'm going to want to put in $signs for all of those. Let's see if the F4 worked when I'm typing this in. It did not, and I'm very frustrated. What did it just do? It switched. Oh, it closed that altogether. Well, let me open that up. I either didn't hold down function, or I did some other error there. But let me fix this. Here we go. All right. And let me again go to right click this. So if that ever happens to you and you click the wrong thing, just, oh, look, it still pulled it up from here. So even though I didn't have $signs in there, it worked out. So you don't actually have to have that. I'm kind of curious what advanced options are. Let's look here. Show help text for selected cell. Let's go ahead and tell it to do that. If the data is invalid, rather than show a warning, reject the input. I think that's fine. The display style, I don't really care about that. I think it changes what this little area here looks like. But let's just click done there. Now, what will happen is when I click this down arrow, it pulls up the exact values in here. It did keep them in a strange order. I don't know why. Oh, maybe it didn't work. That's what happened. All right, once again. It still basically when I hit function F4 and I didn't do it right, it just ignored the input I did. So I'm going to have to repeat that real quick, but that's okay. You guys get to see this done twice, which helps you learn it. So you highlight it, you drop down. This is the old version. Let's change it to drop down from a range. Okay. Let's type in the range and I'm equal to, and I'm going to put my $signs in the hard way here. $B, $10 to $B, and I said 17 because I am going to add things to it. Let me go to the advanced options like I was saying. Notice it still says drop down from a range now, and now it is in the sequence that this is. That's what it didn't do when I abandoned it by hitting F4 and made a mistake later. Advanced options here. Let's go ahead and have it show help. Reject the input. Let's show warning instead of rejecting the input. And click done. Now, close this. When I click a down arrow like this and I click on something, I only have, there's 3,901 or 39,001 by the way. If for some reason I dropped this item from the inventory, came up with one called 39,002, and this was a fastener. There's no reason really to change these, but I guess I will, because it would in reality be something different if it were a different object. Let's say we don't do as much markup on that one because our competitors charge less. Okay, so now when I go over here, I can click on and see it's changed. So by changing this drop down here, to choose the criteria from the range, then I just have to change information in this range and it'll automatically change the options in the drop down. So it's kind of cool, neat way to access that information. You click X on there, it goes away. And now this is the way somebody would actually use it. And the only thing and this being read in some ways is kind of fake. It's almost like realistically, these are the parameters that you would change your database, and that this cell here would not actually be your parameter anymore. So you change this to black. It's a little confusing though because this is something you can change. You just change it by clicking and selecting. So I don't know. I'd leave it up to you to decide whether or not you should keep this as red as a thing you can change or whether you would change it back over. But these things down here really should have been red in the first video I showed you. Anyway, kind of neat. Drop downs where you select the values from a list. Oh, and yeah, by the way, if I added another one, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8. It's a stupid joke that won't mean anything in 5 years. Let's call this a I don't know. This is screw. Okay, let's go crew neck. Crew neck sweater. We're carrying sweaters now. We have 5 of them on hand. They cost us $1.98. Wait, 1.98. Oh, it cost us $198, and we're going to charge $15.99 for these because that's the way it is in the garment industry. Notice that because I made the range for this drop down go down to B17, I've added a new value. It will automatically add that new value in there for the drop down. So this is much more flexible than the other way. And it also has this data correction thing. Somebody can't really put in a value that's not there. If they type in a number, and you can do that, let's put down 3,901, it will still do the nearest match. It'll drop to the one below it, but there is an error here. This is the little corner there. Is if you click on that, the input must fall within the specified range, meaning that. So if you see that little triangle, it means you've typed in a number that wasn't part of the dropdown. It doesn't add it to the dropdown. The only way to add to the dropdown is to add to the column area where your dropdown was looking for valid entries. Anyway, way too long for such a small idea, but kind of cool.